I am on a roll when it comes to relevant t-shirts today. Readers, the root for today's lesson is a bit different, but at the same time is a topic that I've been wanting to discuss for a while. So yes, to a certain extent, today's lesson is still based on popular culture. Whether or not we find it popular... With that being said, I'm not that big of a sports fan. I played Little League Baseball when I was a kid and absolutely hated it. It took me 3 years to understand the fundamental basics of basketball. I only learned how to play football because of the NCAA games that were on the PS2. Mostly because I could create my own team and football player. Creative character engines are like my crack. I'm sorry. And I could really never get into soccer or hockey. So most of the times when we're dealing with sporting events, I'm just like, yay, go team. Take the thing to the goal. And stop the opposing team from putting the thing into our goal. Yay. I say that because the topic that sparked today's lesson came from an actual football player. An African-American football player named Odell Beckham Jr. A few weekends ago, he posted on his Instagram dancing with another male friend of his. This, along with the fact that there are numerous other videos and photos of him doing such things, have caused a lot of people, both on the internet and IRL, to demand that he just comes out as gay, because a straight man wouldn't necessarily do that. And unfortunately, the majority of these people are also members of the African American ethnic group, which is pretty horrible. Now, whereas he is getting all this attention, individuals like Channing Tatum can go on lip sync battle and dress up like both Elsa from Frozen and Beyonce and barely get heckled for it. What's the difference? How both ethnic groups treat masculinity, which is the subject for today's lesson. I have had a major problem with how masculinity is treated, nurtured, and matured over the years that I have been alive. I've had problems with phrases like don't be a pussy, man up, be a man, and that's not to condemn anybody who loves Mulan. I fucking love that song. But there have been moments where I have definitely seen that black masculinity has proven to be more toxic than masculinity regarding any other ethnic groups. A perfect example. I was in a stage play about 5 or 6 years ago, and I took a picture with a good male friend of mine, who was also in the play. I had my hand wrapped around his shoulder and we were both smiling. I was later scrolling down my Facebook page with a 10-year-old kid that I was mentoring at the time. I was looking through my old photos and I came across that photo. I showed him the photo, explained the situation of the play, and told him that this was a good friend of mine who was also in the play. And because of the fact that we were both smiling and I had my hand around his shoulder, the boy initially said that it didn't look right to him, that it was weird, that we shouldn't have been taking a picture like this. In layman's terms, the picture looked suspect to the boy, and he was also of the African American ethnicity. I honestly believe that one of the spawning points of this mentality has come from us African Americans being taught that we have to try 3 times as hard to get half of what Caucasians normally get without any help. I believe that we've applied this to both good things and bad things. I also believe it's a sense of pride. And if you haven't been exposed to how black hyper-masculinity has been presented or effectively handled in the world, the closest thing I can say to do is watch the entire series of the Boondocks and watch how Riley reacts to a lot of things. And parenting also factors into this case, both in African American Christian families and in African American families who don't necessarily practice a religion, but have grown up in a time period where this mentality was the norm. Personally, I was brought up to believe that my actions represented my entire family, that how I carried myself represented how my family and how my parents brought me up. Basically that I was an ambassador for my family, representing them wherever I went. And honestly, I've never applied that. How I carry myself and how I present myself is me representing myself and nobody else. Even as a child, I never believed that shit. And as a grown-ass man, I basically look at those type of teachings as a way of our parents trying to slyly conform us into acting the way that they want us to act, as opposed to us being ourselves. Unfortunately, until people start waking up and realizing the way that we have been presenting masculinity is more toxic to people as opposed to helping them out. People like Odell Beckham Jr., whether or not he's straight or gay, just have to keep doing them. Don't worry about these other motherfuckers. Keep doing what makes you happy. If you want to dance with your best friend of the same sex, go ahead. If you enjoy doing things that other people of your ethnic group or of your sex find suspect, as long as it's not hurting anybody and it's making you happy, then who the fuck is stopping you? Let these motherfuckers talk. That's all they do anyway. And now we get to the point where my shirt is once again relevant. I'm 2 for 2. Yeah, But readers, your homework assignment for the day. How has hyper-masculinity affected you in your ethnic group? Or has it affected somebody that you know? Let's talk about it and maybe we can help each other out. But this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.